I'm Matthew Dawson. I'm Executive Chef at St Kilda Venues, which is Captain Baxter, Republica, Mr McCracken and Encore. I started off in Albury-Wodonga as a trainee at Albury-based hospital, waiting to get into an apprenticeship or finding an apprenticeship in a kitchen locally. I ended up at the Hotel Termo in Albury. It was a pub, and that's where I sort of found my feet and really knew that I wanted to be a chef, and worked there for a number of years. Outside of that, I went to All Saints Winery in Rutherglen, and that's the one business that made a big difference to my life as far as a chef. It went from cooking pub food to a restaurant where, you know, production was different, the quality of ingredients was different, the emphasis on food and service was the next level, which really drove my passion further. From there, we moved to Melbourne, my family and I started working at the Stokehouse, St Kilda. That was probably the biggest, busiest place that I had worked so far. Again, it was a restaurant, great food, excellent service. And it was there that we went to purchase our own restaurants down the road in St Kilda Venues, which was Republica 13 years ago. Then we moved into Captain Baxter and Encore St Kilda. Righto guys, this is a dish we have at Captain Baxter. It's our fried chicken with Sam sauce. The Sam sauce is a Korean hot sauce. It's one of my favourites. Get the chicken thigh in so it stays nice and moist after we deep fry, and we flavour it with egg, chilli, ginger, garlic, and we just add a bit of olive oil at that stage just to help lubricate and marinate the chicken. From that stage we flour it with tapioca flour, which allows it to be a gluten-free product, and we deep fry it in the extra virgin olive oil. So we'll just pop the chicken in carefully. So that'll take about 2 or 3 minutes to cook all the way through and get a nice crunch. For the oil, we just use a lighter flavour oil so it's sort of not too overpowering for the final dish. Righto guys, it's been about 3 minutes. We'll start taking this chicken out. It's looking nice and crunchy. It's got a nice sort of fruity smell from the olive oil that we've deep fried in as well. We'll just hit it with the salt now while we still have the oil on it. And then we'll go to plate. Righto, so we'll just assemble the chicken. Just gonna add some spring onion, we'll cut that up nice and fine. We'll put a lime cheek and some sesame seeds with it. So we'll just put the chicken all inside this dish here. It's got a little bit of wax paper, it's how we present it at Captain Baxter. It just gives that more sort of street food appearance. Spring onions, we just sort of put them all over the top. A bit of sesame seeds. And the lime cheek just to help cut through the fattiness of the chicken. And then the amazing Sam sauce, which we'll just put around all over the chicken like that. And that's it, that's the fried chicken with Sam sauce. At our venues, we use extra virgin olive oil for cooking all the time. It's just got a great sort of floral, you can smell from the heat of the oil. It's got a nice fruity, pungent flavour that sort of you can still taste and smell after it's come out. We use it at Captain Baxter and Republica both for deep frying, shallow frying, and we love the flavour that it creates. Righto, so this is the apple and rhubarb crumble with olive oil ice cream. This is a dish we serve at Republica. We just need to prepare the rhubarb into battens, and with the rhubarb it's really sour, so we're going to cook it down with some sugar, some orange zest, some spices, a Granny Smith apple, so just peeling the apple, and once we get the apple peeled we'll cut it up into a dice into a pot with a little bit of vanilla bean, a little bit of sugar, and again just till it's cooked. We don't want to lose all the shape and texture out of it. Okay, to assemble the crumble, I'm just going to grab some cream on glaze. I'm just going to put a little bit in the bottom to cover the dish. I'm just going to take the apple, so it's a little bit chunky, a little bit mushed up, so it's not just eating a sort of a pureed apple and rhubarb crumble, you need a little bit of texture. Again, it's really sour, the rhubarb, so you just want to add enough in there to get a contrast to the apple. And then the crumble. So the crumble is a mixture of pecans, macadamia, coconut, oats, sugar, and flour and butter, and we just bake it all off to get it to a stage where it's 3/4 cooked. And then we want to use that to finish the crumble. Just want to pile it on nice and high so you've got lots of texture when you're eating the dish later on. And that will go in the oven for 5 minutes, and we'll take it out and we'll finish it with the olive oil ice cream. Righto, so this is the Australian extra virgin olive oil ice cream, which will finish the crumble. We're just going to start off with the milk and the cream. We'll get that onto the heat. We need to bring this up to 85 degrees. So we're just adding the neutral base to the mix and the sugar. And we're going to cook that through to 85 degrees, which will allow the stabiliser to set. And once we take it off the heat, we'll cool down a little bit and we're going to blend in the extra virgin olive oil and a little bit of salt. And once we've incorporated all that, we'll freeze and ready to churn. Now the ice cream has cooled down, we're just going to add some sea salt, and we're also going to incorporate the Australian extra virgin olive oil. We're just using a medium flavoured olive oil so that it's not too bitter and pungent at the end when we want to have it with our apple crumble. We just want it to be sort of sitting in the background and just have some nice olive oil notes. And now we can put this into a canister and put it in the freezer and ready to churn for our dessert. Okay, so the crumble's out of the oven. It's been in for about 5 minutes. As you can see, it's nice and bubbling and toasted. Just churn the ice cream and we're just going to get a nice quenelle. And that's it. This is the apple crumble with the Australian extra virgin olive oil ice cream.
I believe there's probably two different reasons why the myth started. One was actually from the industry itself. We should not forget that more than 50% of the olive oil produced in the world is actually of not high quality and needs to be refined to be used for human consumption. That's what we know as olive oil or pure olive oil or extra light olive oil, so everything that is not extra virgin. Realistically, that oil doesn't have any more, in fact has a lot less health benefits than extra virgin olive oil. And the industry have been sending the message of saying use extra virgin olive oil for dressing your salads and all your cold dishes, and use olive oil or refined olive oil for cooking. Not necessarily saying that you cannot use extra virgin olive oil for cooking, but by default consumers sometimes thought that they couldn't cook with extra virgin olive oil. That's, I think, one of the industry itself is really guilty of producing that. And the other bit came really from the seed oil industry. The seed oil industry obviously trying to find some measurement or some parameter where the seed oils were better than extra virgin olive oil. There's certainly not many. One of those was smoke point. In a nutshell, what we measure when we are determining smoke point is the temperature at which the oil starts producing a little bit of smoke that you can actually visually see under very controlled environmental conditions. Regretfully, that method doesn't determine if that smoke is coming from the entire mass of oil that is breaking down or from a very small amount of oil that is breaking down. And that's why the method on its own is not really good to predict the stability of an oil under heat. In the case of virgin oils, not just olive oil but any other virgin oils that are not chemically and thermally refined, there's always a small amount of free fatty acids in the oil, and those free fatty acids tend to break down a bit faster and earlier, but we're talking about a 0.2, 0.3% of the total amount of oil. But that's enough to see a little bit of smoke, and that's why you're saying, okay, it reached the smoke point, I'm writing it down. Seed oils that have been chemically refined, they have virtually no free fatty acid because it has been removed during the process. But when you start seeing smoke coming up in the smoke point, it's actually the oil itself that is breaking down. And that's why ultimately all the science proves that a smoke point is not really a good predictor of how stable the oils are going to be under heating.